Welcome back to Houston Life. With the cost of just about everything going up right now, a lot of families are feeling stretched thin and also feeling overwhelmed, as you can imagine. But there is one simple number that can help connect you to real support. United Way of Greater Houston's 211 helpline is free and confidential. Assistant Vice President of Community Outreach, Artie Goswami, is here to share how you can join the millions of Texans already getting help. I'm so glad you're here to talk about 211. When we talk about millions, we're not talking about a statewide number. You received more than 1 million calls last year in the Greater Houston area alone?
That's correct. So our Area Information Center has a primary service area of 33 counties, which includes the 13 counties around Houston. And just for those 33 counties alone, we've received over 1 million connections in 2025.
Do you find that people are initially hesitant to ask for help, hesitant to reach out?
We do, and we want to encourage them to reach out early, because when you know that one can't use a resource that you don't know exists. So we want people to know that 211 is there as a resource, as a connection to help and hope, so that when you are in a crisis, you know who to reach out to earlier rather than later.
You and I were chatting during commercial break about a time when we would go to the grocery store, and if you went to the grocery store and you spent $100 on groceries, that was kind of unheard of. And I feel like now it's unheard of to be able to go to the grocery store and just get the basics without spending $100. We have people in the Greater Houston area who are deciding between groceries or paying their bills.
That's absolutely right, and even more so for our vulnerable populations, our older adults, 60 plus, those who are on fixed incomes. These are decisions that they're having to make on a daily basis as the cost of everything increases, but their income levels don't necessarily increase at that same pace. And when you call 211, you're able to speak to a highly trained professional who can listen to your needs, help ask you some of those important questions in a way that's not invasive, not extractive, and then allow you to work through some of those needs and connect you to those valuable community resources, so maybe you don't have to make some of those difficult decisions.
February 11th, 211 is 211 Day, but the needs here are 24/7, 365. During the pandemic, I understand you had an influx of phone calls during that time. Have those phone calls dwindled a bit, or are you still seeing a steady pace of growth in terms of need?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen a resetting of the normal. For a while, we were waiting to see if those calls decreased, if those needs decreased, but they really haven't. And this is our new norm, where our top needs consistently have been for rent and utility assistance, food programs and services, transportation assistance, mortgage assistance, housing services, and so on and so forth.
Can you explain to us a little bit about how it works? For instance, if you have a caller saying, hey, I'm having trouble paying my rent, United Way of Greater Houston then works with area partners? Where does the funding come from?
So we have a database of resources. It is a statewide database, and it has over 80,000 resources in it. When someone calls 211 and expresses a need, we are able to connect them to a resource in their local community that can help meet that need. And beyond that, when someone calls with one need, we know that there's typically 2 or 3 other underlying needs that are, maybe not top of mind. So again, our specialists are able to ask those questions, help identify those needs, and then connect these individuals and these help seekers to those critical resources in their local communities.
In addition to housing, rental assistance, food, utility help, childcare is another common issue for many Houstonian families.
That is correct. Childcare is a very important issue, as is caregiver resources for older adults, transportation, mental health. Last year we saw a little bit of a dip in mental health needs, but that's because we saw an increase in disaster-related services, because we had Hurricane Beryl, we had the derecho, we had the flooding. So all that was 2024. We saw that increase in disaster services, and then 2025 we didn't have a major disaster. Those needs decreased, and then we've seen mental health increase to one of our top 10 needs.
And that's something that many people are dealing with. Oftentimes picking up the phone and making that first phone call is the most difficult call to make. People can also go online, is that right?
That is correct. You can either call 211 for assistance, or you can go online, you can chat us, or you can also search our database of resources through the United Way website, www.unitedwayhouston.org.
So people are standing by, ready to help at any time. And I feel like one of the messages here, Artie, is that we're not alone in this, right? If you're out there, you're struggling to pay for groceries, get food on the table for your family, there are a lot of people in that same situation. And the good news is United Way of Greater Houston is there to help.
Absolutely. You are not alone. We want you to know that. We want you to know that help is just a phone call away. And we understand that sometimes making that first call can be the hardest step, but it can also be the first step towards stability, towards hope. And the 211 Texas United Way helpline is here 24/7, 365 days a year, and we can provide services in over 350 languages. We are your connection to help and hope.
All right, Artie Goswami, thank you so much for stopping by Houston Life.
Thank you
and
for
thanks
having
for your
us.
work in our community. We do want to remind our viewers, we have linked these resources on our website, HoustonLife.tv. Look for that scene on Houston Life section. Once again, the number to call, 211. You can also go online, 211texas.org. You can also email help@UnitedWayHouston.org.